Welcome back. It's true to say most of our lives have been touched by cancer, but today we're going to be speaking with somebody who I think has been affected far more by cancer than most of the rest of us. And her name is Dana Goodman. It's lovely to have you here today.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank
you. Dana Goodman has written this book. It's called In the Cleft, Joy Comes in the Morning. Dana, you have a large story to tell, and it's in many ways a very sad story. I'm just going to ask you, maybe you can talk about how cancer has affected you.
Okay. Yes. It's a bit complicated, but my first husband, who was 30 years old, died of a rare soft tissue sarcoma called malignant fibroid histiocytoma. And about 8 years after that, my son, who was 12 years old, was diagnosed with a deadly brain tumor called glioblastoma multiforme. And he, at the same time my son was diagnosed, my second husband was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma. So my son and my husband were doing treatments at the same time. And shortly within that whole time frame, my mother-in-law was diagnosed as well. And all of them, my husband now is still alive and doing really, really well, but the rest of them were terminal and died.
This is an amazing story. There are no words to express what you have gone through in that time period and how hard that was on you. Yet you're here today and you're smiling. You have lost a husband, a son, and a mother-in-law, and you've written a book about it. Tell me, where did you find the courage to write this? Well,
as a mother, I mean, you grieve when your husband dies, and you grieve when your mother-in-law dies. But a child dying is a whole different level of grief. And for me, I wanted to make his story count for something. I wanted a legacy for my grandchildren to see how amazing of a boy he was. He was wonderful. He's very sensitive, very kind, very beautiful. And when I lost him, it was like there was a hole and life was just draining out of me. And I thought, I've got to make everybody know who he was. I want everyone to know how amazing of a boy he was. And so that was my heart's desire in writing it. It's preserving their stories. It's making their story count for something big.
Also in the book, I noticed that you have people whose lives were touched by Zach. That's the name of your son that died. They give little stories talking about how Zach affected their life in a positive way, and that must feel good for you to have that in this book as well.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, the community of Kamloops was really affected by his story. And my sister and I got together and we did a mountain bike race. It's one of the hardest in the world. It's the Trans Rockies. And we got together and did this race, and we ended up raising $54,000 for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And the community of Kamloops was incredible in coming together to support that. We had a blog called Caring Bridge, where I would go on and blog about what we were going through, because I didn't want to be phoning people and telling them all the time. So we had a blog, and people would continually go on there just praying for us, loving us, supporting us. We had meals brought to our house. I think for 2 months we never had to cook. And so it was really incredible how people in love come together and support people when they're going through a really hard time.
Based on what I've read in your book, you describe yourself as a religious person.
Well, I don't like religion. I love Jesus. Religion can be have kind of a weird connotation, but I love Jesus, and you know, he was incredible. In the cleft actually means he would pull me into that cleft, and he would support me and love me, and so I could not necessarily come out joyful, but come out being able to breathe and come out being able to take one more step.
But was it hard to believe in a higher power when all of these negative things were happening?
It was really hard to believe, and that's faith. You know, we go through hard times, we go through awful times, and people are like, how do you do it? And I don't know, except that you have enough for that moment. And I was angry at God, and there's a lot about that in there. I'm really, you know, this is unbelievable what's happening to us here. But he did love me through it. And when I went to Kenya, I went to Africa last year, and we worked in the slums, and people carving beauty out of ugly in the slums, creating these amazing little gardens in the midst of the dumps. And you go, if they can create beauty in messiness, then I can create beauty in messiness as well. And while we were in Africa, we saw miracles left, right, and center. Like, it was just an absolutely beautiful thing. So God did a lot of restorative work in my heart during that time when I saw he does do incredible things. He does do the miraculous. And when he doesn't, we need to know what to do to make something good come out of the tragedy. And beauty comes out of ugliness. Yeah.
And that's what this book is about. And also, can you speak to the fact it does offer refuge for people who are also suffering in their own journey? Absolutely.
I mean, I always say you can't rate pain on a curve. If you're in pain, you're in pain. It doesn't matter if it's a divorce. It doesn't matter if your car ran out of gas on the road and you're having an absolutely awful day, right? Pain is pain, and it hurts. And so I wanted the book to be a roadmap to help people who are going through their own pain stories. What do you do? How do you get it? They need to have hope. So I wanted to infuse hope into people, that you can get through no matter what you're going through. You will get through it, and you will conquer it, and you will overcome it. And I will never be the same again, right? I'll never ever be the same again. My heart will always break, and I will always have that loneliness in my heart. But wow. You know, you can just come alongside people and go, you know what? There's hope, right? Even in the midst of the worst pain of your life, there's hope.
You have another son.
Yes.
He's 15 years old. His name is Carter. He's in good health.
He's in good health.
And your husband, Doug, fought and won against cancer.
Yes.
How is he?
He's great. And he actually, just 3 weeks ago, he was given a clean bill of health as cancer-free. So he's doing really, really well. And so is my son.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah,
those are the blessings.
Those are the blessings, yeah.
This Saturday, you're going to be at Chapters, and you're doing a book signing at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm sure that you would like to meet some people that would be interested in reading your book.
Absolutely. And you know what? I've been doing social media, and I don't like it that much. I love meeting people, talking to people, being with people face to face. So I'm really looking forward to having that human interaction.
Absolutely. And of course, your book is available at Chapters, but it's also available online at Amazon. And I know you want to make a point of that.
Yes, it's Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
And Barnes & Noble.
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic. So people who are not living right in an area where Chapters is available, you can certainly go online to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, pick up the book. I want to say thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
You say you're a public speaker. It can't be ever easy talking about stuff like this.
It's not. And you know what? I cry at least twice a day. And I cry when I speak too. It's just the way it is, right? Grief is love, right? And so you will, as long as I live, grieve.
Thank you for being here today and sharing your time with us.
Thank you so much.
Information is on the screen. If you would like to sit down and have a chat with Dana Goodman, she prefers it in person to speak with people, so you can certainly meet her at Chapters this Saturday at 1 o'clock. Stay with us.